environment sector. Let us all commence with the first session. I request Dr. Kirti ma'am to start with the proceedings for the first session of Mr. Umesh Dixit. Kirti ma'am, please start.
Evening to the all. I'm audible, sir, properly?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am, but your video
Yes.
is off.
Good evening, all. I, Dr. Kirti Ghare, welcome you all the first session of online ATAL FDP on sustainable practices in energy and environment sector during 16 December to the 21st December 2024. I am honored to introduce our today's resource person, Mr. Umesh Dixit, sir. Mr. Umesh Dixit graduated in mechanical engineering from College of Engineering, Pune in 1990. He has worked in the field of water and wastewater treatment for 34 years. Now and henceforth always, Sir is always associated with the clean environment and sustainable water management. Currently, Sir is working as Director of Metito India and heads the engineering operations in Metito India. He has spent most of the career in project management, plant designing, and the engineering. He is a staunch supporter of a sustainable practices through austere living and is highly committed to the cleaner environment. So, further delay, I would like to invite to the Mr. Umesh Dixit sir. Please start the section. Over to you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kirti ma'am. Umesh sir, please.
Thank you, Kirti ma'am. Thanks, Elish sir, Utkarsh sir. Uh, Welcome everybody to this session. I'm very happy to join this session today. I hope I am visible as well as audible.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Fantastic. Yes.
Yes. And so I will present my screen so that we can start with the session
Yes.
straight away
Yes.
without losing further time.
Sure, sir.
Please let me know if you are able to see my desktop.
Yes,
Yes,
we
sir.
can.
Once it is visible, we can
Yeah,
start.
it's coming.
Okay, so I have this small PPT file
Yes,
made.
sir.
Okay, so
Yeah.
guys, welcome back, and let me start with my session today, which is titled "Why to Live a Low Carbon Life and How." The session title, which was conveyed to you, was "How to Live a Low Carbon Life." Uh, well, I have about 40 slides, which I can complete, say, in 40-50 minutes, and we can have some question answers as well. I believe everyone has his or her mic muted, and I know that there are a lot of faculty members here. I want to start with saying that I'm not into academics for a very long time now, and more of a business manager. So I'm not here to teach you guys something or impart any great knowledge or something like that. Uh, I'm here basically, I would say, to provoke you guys more than anything else, to think, and what can be done in for our future for sustainability. So these slides basically I prepared mm, for some secondary school students some time ago, uh, for a school here in Pune in India, and uh, I, and I have then delivered this talk in person to some of corporates. This is the first time I'm trying it in an online session, so I hope that it works well. If there is anything in between interrupting you guys, please do stop me. No problem. I also request few of you guys who don't mind to join this session as something like a sounding board. Like you can unmute your mics in between and ask questions if you want. Uh, if it is breaking the flow, we may keep the question, pass the question, and keep it for the end. Or if it really helps to progress, we will answer the question right away. All at the same time, I have a few questions in between, so please do not mind to unmute your mics and answer those questions. And believe me, these questions are only for secondary school students, so there is not going to be any difficulty for you guys to answer those questions. But to keep the flow, it is better to unmute the mic and answer it, and then we quickly move forward.
Yes, sir.
So
Sure.
as I said, I am Umesh Dixit, and I am the director in Metito India. Metito is a company in wastewater management. But today my topic is not on water; it's more on air, because we are talking about the carbon emission. So let us make a move. My first question: what is our fundamental necessity? What is the foremost requirement for our existence? Can someone quickly answer in a word or two? What you think is our most fundamental necessity as human beings? Just
Air, water, and food, sir.
yeah, correct. Air, water, food. So typically, some might answer roti, kapda, and makan.
Proper food, air,
Yeah. So I will sum up all this in probably
sustainable environment.
sustainable environment. Yeah. Anything else?
Better
Oxygen.
living standard.
Better living standard. But what I'm talking about is the most important
Necessary.
thing, without which we cannot survive.
Correct.
Oxygen,
Air,
Oxygen,
air,
air,
water,
okay,
air,
water,
water,
Air and water.
yes,
and
yes,
Air and
yes,
water.
proper environment.
Air and
proper
water.
environment, yes,
oxygen,
air and water, oxygen. All these things lead to one thing. We will go to the next slide, which is energy. Without energy, we cannot sustain. So if we said oxygen, it is to give us energy. If we say water, it is to finally give us energy. Roti for energy, kapda, energy, everything. So energy is the foremost requirement for us to
Energy.
survive. Energy. And today's topic ultimately leads us to energy. All 6 days we are probably going to talk about energy, I believe. And energy alone, frankly speaking, everything else that we talked is a derivative, and we end up with energy as the main source of our existence. Okay, the next question: what were the sources of energy before modern era? Anybody? Okay, let me
Solar energy.
yes, very good, very good. That answers it.
All renewable sources of energies like solar, water.
Before modern era, only solar energy. I will share a few facts, because I have used the word modern era, so I will explain it a bit. These few facts are like: Earth was formed about 5 billion years ago. I may be wrong here and there, but let us try to take a gist of whatever I am saying. Occurrence of the first life came on Earth about a billion years ago, about 1 billion years ago. Origin of animals was about half a billion years ago. Evolution of man in its current form, that is Homo sapiens, that we are, dates back to about 3 lakh years. The humans came into existence about 30 lakh years, but there were different other species which are no more existing on Earth, like the Neanderthals, the Erectus, the Florenensis, and many more. But only sapiens survived after a while. Last 60, 70,000 years, only sapiens are existing. That is we. So we come about 3 lakh years ago in exactly the current form. But by modern era, I don't mean 3 lakh years, I only mean 200 years. So before 200 years, what was the main source of energy? And someone rightly said, the only source of energy then was sun. Everything we derived was ultimately from sun before more than, say, 200 years ago. Let us talk about a few more facts when we talk about the source of energy as sun. Amongst the flora and fauna, the former, which is the flora, which is the plants, is capable of using the solar energy directly for its survival, right? The animals, though, can't use this energy in its purest form. Like, we cannot stand under the sun and use that energy directly for our existence. We as animals need certain derived forms as the source of energy. right? So my question
Yes, sir.
is, the animals depend on plants. We cannot absorb the solar energy and survive ourselves like the plants do. So we have to depend on plants. We eat plants, and that is how we get our energy. So let us remember that plants alone are capable of capturing solar radiation and processing this energy to the other forms that can be used by animals for their survival. What do we call this process as?
Photosynthesis.
Perfect. I know this answer is going to come from this group. All these answers are going to come. Yes, photosynthesis. You are able to see my screen?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
yes, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So plants use the solar energy and forms glucose, which in turn is the source of energy for other animals. Right? The photosynthesis can be put in the form of a chemical reaction. Now, this is very childish, but this was developed for the secondary school students. So pardon me, but you will enjoy it, I believe. How does the photosynthesis can be put in a simple equation? It is carbon dioxide and water in the photosynthetic cells absorbing energy in the form of solar radiation, the light, and what you get is glucose and oxygen. Isn't that great? The plants are consuming 6 molecules of carbon dioxide taken from atmosphere and 6 molecules of water taken from soil to convert it into a molecule of sugar, and meantime releases 6 molecules of oxygen. Such a great thing to happen. What we need for our existence, we said, glucose and oxygen, food and oxygen, sugar and oxygen. This is exactly what the plants are giving us. Both the byproducts of the photosynthetic reaction are what we consume for deriving the energy for our existence. Now, what do we do with this? What we do with this is the opposite of the photosynthesis reaction, which is called as aerobic respiration or cellular respiration. The sugar formed by plants is a dormant source of energy, potential energy. Sugar has energy within it, and we have to burn that sugar or oxidize it, as we call it, at the cellular level inside the cells, not anywhere else, to obtain active energy for us. Now, how this reaction looks? The opposite of the photosynthetic reaction. We burn the glucose plus oxygen, we oxidize it to get CO2 and water and energy, which comes to us in the form of heat. So the energy in the form of light goes into the leaves in the photosynthetic cells, and it comes out back in our body in the form of heat. That is why our body is warm, and this warmth, this energy helps us to exist, helps us to live, helps us to do our work. And in turn, what we release? We release carbon dioxide through our exhaling and water vapor. Both these things go out of our body in the form of our respiration, in the form of exhaling. This is the reverse reaction of photosynthesis. Important to note that this essentially is an exothermic reaction. The previous reaction, the photosynthetic reaction, which we saw, was an endothermic reaction. The light was absorbed, and now here the heat or the energy is released. Right? Now, what do we learn from this? That there is a natural balance of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. If you see these two reactions, there is a natural balance. That in the photosynthetic reaction, the carbon dioxide is absorbed and oxygen is released by the plants, and in the cellular respiration, the oxygen is absorbed by humans or any animal, and the carbon dioxide is released. The plants absorb the carbon dioxide and converts it into food and oxygen. The animals use the food and oxygen for its living. So these are the very elementary things that I am talking about to give a kickstart to our 6 sessions. And I hope everybody enjoys this. And while doing so, they produce energy for themselves and exhale carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. I just put a footnote 1 in day. Note that the plants eat the food themselves for survival. Don't think that the only animals eat the foods prepared by the plant. The plant themselves eat the food, though at night, because at night the photosynthetic cells go to sleep. I mean, what else they can do when there is no sun? So plant produces energy for themselves through cellular respiration and exhale CO2 during the night. So maybe you people have heard that plants exhale CO2 during the night and they absorb oxygen. So what we learn from this? This give and take of oxygen and carbon dioxide to and from the atmosphere has been the major reason for the sustained ecology to these thousands of millennia, and the flora and fauna have happily coexisted. We are now talking about sustainability. In the past, it was natural. The plants were there, the animals were there, the plants would absorb the carbon dioxide, emit oxygen, the animals will inhale oxygen, produce energy, and they will exhale carbon dioxide. So there was a natural good balance. Although the flora on itself can form this ecological balance. See, plants can do both the reactions, so one in the daytime, one in the nighttime. So they can run both the reactions by themselves. That probably explains why for about 500 million years, if you see, first 500 million only plants were there and the animals came into existence only in last 500 million, 500 million years. So only vegetation was present on the earth in the first 500 million years or 500 million years when the living beings came into existence. Starting from algae, fungi, as we all know, to large plants. So what is this ecological balance in terms of some concrete numbers? Let us see. It is observed through research that the optimum level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is what should be, very interesting words I have used here, is what should be 200 ppm. So if you want to talk, what is the theory? What is the optimum level of carbon dioxide in atmosphere? It is 200 ppm. I hope everybody here is aware of the terms ppm and all. That is parts per million. And what was it in the past? Well, it was 200 ppm because that is what we said, that in the past everything was fine. More than 200 years ago, there was no imbalance. And what it should be in future, that's what we are aiming for, isn't it? Through all these talks, through all these researches, through all these discussions, that it should be 200 ppm. We all know that it is not 200 ppm anymore. Things have changed for worse. So let us see what happened, what happens, what should be done. Cut to scene 2, the modern era. Emergence of the power-hungry Homo sapiens. What is that? Power-hungry. And the unfortunate discovery of, can anybody say what I'm trying to say here? Modern era is not 1,000 years, not 2,000 years. Absolutely correct. Fossil fuels. Perfect, perfect. So we became power hungry. We couldn't sustain by just eating food through fruits, roots, whatnot, and doing all our day-to-day life using that much energy. We needed more energy. And the Homo sapiens became power hungry not too long ago, just 200 years, because the fossil fuels are discovered just about that long. I mean, the modern cars have come up only 100, 120 years ago, not more than that. Footnote 2, I have put power hungry. In power, you can power as energy or power as behavior. Both ways it works the same way, I believe. Authoritarian behavior, which is we have become power hungry. We want wars. We want to supersede the others. We want control on other people. That type of power. It also requires a lot of energy, by the way. So let's move. Before dwelling further, let us take small exercises. Now here you can unmute some of you and try to give the answers. I have one question. Question 1. There are 2 cars, same make, same model, same batch. Car A. Hello. I think somebody is unmute. Please try to mute yourself if you...
Done, sir, done. Continue, please.
Yeah. So we have 2 cars. Car A exhaust was analyzed and was found to contain 6200 ppm of CO2. And car B exhaust was analyzed and found to contain 6800 ppm of CO2. So which car is tuned and performing better? That's my question. So
Car A.
Car A is
Car
performing
B.
better. Car B is performing better. Okay.
So because we are using hydrocarbon and ultimate products are water and CO2.
Correct.
More combustion good CO2.
So you believe car B.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else who still believes car A? Because it is producing less CO2? Okay, I will give it to our friend who said car B. It's the car B which is performing better because CO2 is what we want out of a car. Don't be under the impression that we want less CO2 out of a car. We want complete combustion. So if less CO2 is coming means something else is coming. Either unburnt fuel is coming or half burnt fuel is coming. More CO2 means we are sure that whatever petrol or diesel or natural gas that we have put into the car is getting completely burnt and we are getting more CO2. So when it comes to car and whether it comes to finely tuned car, we should see a lot of CO2 coming out. Good. Let us go for one more question. Second question, simple question. Is carbon dioxide a harmful gas? We can have a discussion here. I may hold the presentation and then I don't mind you guys. We will spend some extra time here. It doesn't matter.
No, sir. To
Yes.
my knowledge, carbon dioxide is a stable gas,
Yes.
not much reactive. But if it was carbon monoxide due to incomplete combustion, the
Perfect.
throwaway of carbon monoxide, which is toxic as it is in the need of itself to get oxidized,
Perfect.
as it is unstable.
Absolutely clear-cut answer, and we don't have to discuss it further. Carbon dioxide is a neutral gas. It is a harmless gas in that sense. I mean, it may cause some harm because it will impart some acidity if we inhale too much carbon dioxide or if we drink carbon dioxide, the carbonated waters. But otherwise, it is an inert gas, and we exhale carbon dioxide every second. So it's there in our body, getting generated in our body, and it is there in our lungs when we exhale. So it is a harmless gas. But in the context of these 6 days, we are going to talk a lot that carbon dioxide being harmful. So it is not harmful for humans, it is harmful otherwise. And that is what we are going to talk as we move forward. But otherwise, it's
Sir,
perfectly all right.
it is also a necessity for the plants also. No?
Yes, it is
CO2
necessary
is
for
needed.
CO2
Yeah.
is needed, and a good balance of CO2, as we said just now, is 200 ppm. If it goes down, then plants will also die. the food will not be created, the energy will not be created. So we need a balance, and CO2 is a good gas, and it's not a bad gas. So I will go back to my presentation.
Even carbon monoxide reacts with the human blood to form
Correct.
carboxyhemoglobin, which is
Perfect.
again toxic.
Which is toxic, which is carcinogenic. So I'm back to my this thing. So is carbon dioxide harmful gas? So those who don't know, well, it is not very harmful really. Question 3. So what is all measured in PUC? We are not measuring carbon dioxide in our PUC certificate in which the RTO issues. So what are we measuring?
So we are measuring NOx, carbon
Yes.
monoxide,
Correct.
and hydrocarbons, unburned hydrocarbons.
Perfect. So basically, if we are talking about pure petrol, then yes, we are measuring carbon monoxide and hydrocarbons, which simply means that carbon monoxide means half burnt carbon, which is not fully burnt, partially burnt, not fully converted into carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide. And if there is completely unburnt fuel, it is hydrocarbons that is coming out. So we are not measuring carbon dioxide, we are measuring carbon monoxide and hydrocarbons to check the pollution. So is it that the pollution that we are going to talk about today? Well, not, because we are today not focused on carbon monoxide and unburnt fuel, which is hydrocarbons. We are focused today on carbon dioxide. But I thought I will have these 3 questions put aside, because there is always a confusion between pollution and environmental damage. Pollution is what we are worried about at immediate effect, like carbon monoxide, it is carcinogenic. Carbon dioxide, not harmful. So if we inhale carbon monoxide here in the city, it is really bad and it is directly harming us. Carbon dioxide is not harming us, but it is harming the earth. And that is what we are going to talk today, later. So where we stand on CO2 in Earth's atmosphere? 200 ppm is what we talked, right? As we have seen earlier, the natural CO2 level in atmosphere is 200 ppm. The current level after a century of rampant burning of fossil fuels, we have reached about 380 ppm in Earth's atmosphere. This is some data which I picked from here and there, and I may be slightly wrong, but let us not worry about the exact figures today. Let us worry about the gist of it, the situation where we are heading towards. So for millions and millions of years, to be precise 1 billion years, the natural level was sustained throughout 200 ppm, and just about a century since we started using fossil fuels, the Earth's atmosphere ppm level has reached to 380 ppm. This 380 ppm is already taxing heavily on us. This 380 ppm is already taxing heavily on us. By 2050, if we burn the fuel at the same rate, we are expected to reach 550 ppm. That's what the empirical data shows. And you will all agree that that will spell a disaster. I mean, 550 ppm is going to be too much. And whatever these days we are talking about, okay, we'll come to that in the next slide, because that is what it is. So the topic moves with the greenhouse gases. There are many gases which are termed as greenhouse gases, which are trapping the radiation going away from the earth, and that is what is leading us to what we call it as global warming. So what are the greenhouse gases? Water vapor, carbon dioxide. Water vapor is also a greenhouse gas, by the way, but we are not worried about it, because as soon as it reaches the saturation level, the relative humidity up to say 90-100%, it will condense and fall back. So it really doesn't increase beyond a point. Second one is carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, ozone, the CFCs, and so many. But today we are going to talk about carbon dioxide, because our topic today is the low carbon life. So carbon dioxide is one of the major thing that is causing the greenhouse gas effect to go up. As the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is increasing, it has increased from a sustained 200 ppm over 1 billion years to just about 380 ppm in just about 100 years. So let us see how we go forward with this. Now the all important question of what is carbon footprint. We keep hearing this term, and many times we don't know the exact definition. Maybe most of you know it today, but anyway, I have picked up a very simple definition of what is called as carbon footprint. So the simple definition is it is the average emission of carbon dioxide in tons of CO2 per person per annum. Very simple. How many tons per person per annum carbon dioxide emission is achieved is the carbon footprint of that person, that community, that country, whatever we want to call. A typical combustion reaction using a fossil fuel will be similar as what we saw for glucose. So I have used one of the hydrocarbon reaction. I don't know what it is, C8H18, maybe petrol, maybe LPG, maybe something. So same, you have a hydrocarbon instead of glucose, you are having a fossil fuel here. Burn it using oxygen, you get carbon dioxide and water. We are not talking about the carbon monoxide and unburned thing here. We are assuming that they are very finely tuned cars and you are getting 100% CO2 and H2O and the energy, the heat, which is driving the vehicle. Where do we stand on emission levels? I have picked up some data. It may be a little old, but let us see. It gives us a ballpark figure. It gives us generally a good idea of what is happening around. We knew what is carbon footprint in our previous definition. The emission level in UK is about 12 tons per annum. The emission levels in US and Canada are as high as 20 tons. India stands at about 4 tons per person per annum. So see, India is still not emitting so much carbon, but India is already at the forefront of achieving the targets of carbon neutrality. India is doing too well, I would say. Despite not being amongst the topmost industrial countries who have been the root cause of this problem in last 100 years, we are just catching up. We want to do better. We want to grow, but we are still at 4 tons. So what is the ideal level for the world? We know that ideal level is 2 tons. While we are already double than the ideal level, and the other developed countries are far, far beyond that. So if you count the per person emission of these people, it is like hell. Okay, now let us come to sustainable. See, nothing can be ideal in this world. That's what we have learned all these years. So there has to be something which is like real, possible, manageable. So it is believed that, okay, 2 tons is ideal, but 3 tons is manageable, sustainable in the current ecology. Of course, that is after planting lot of trees and all that. 2 tons is ideal, but we can manage with 3 tons. But you can see that already India itself is much more than 3 tons, and UK and USA are far beyond. And all the developed countries and most of the third world countries are well above the sustainable mark, and we are rapidly heading towards the doomsday. Doesn't it look like that? That if we continue this type of emissions, I mean, 2 ton is impossible. Even the sustainable, manageable 3 tons of emission per person, it doesn't look like we are going to attain it in near future. And if we really keep progressing on the same path that we are today, doomsday won't be far away. Okay, coming back to India, when we talked about 4 tons of carbon print. The spread of 4 tons of carbon print is very uneven. Like it is uneven in across the countries, it is uneven within India as well. The 10 crore upper middle class has a carbon footprint of about 10 tons. See, it is quite matching to UK and USA, at least UK. So, I mean, you can see, like most of us are now using cars. So we are catching up with the Western world. And mind well that upper middle class is still very small. It's just about 10 crore. Another 40 crore of lower middle class who do not have cars, probably just maybe two-wheelers or something like that. Their average carbon footprint is about 6 tons, but still much higher than the ideal 2 tons or the manageable 3 tons. 90 crore of poor people in India still live below the poverty line or close to the poverty line, for whom still the government has to supply the food grain to survive. They are the ones who are still surviving at 2 tons. That's the irony of the what I say, the spread of the Indian population. I mean, you have a lot of people still surviving at 2 tons. What is the crux of the matter? What is that one most important point that is pushing us towards calamity? I am coming to a point, very important point of today's discussion. I don't know whether I would be liked after what I say today, or I would be turned into a villain straight away. Any guesses? Why such type of a huge disparity we are seeing, or why such a great increase in the carbon emission that we see? What is that one most important thing you guys think is driving us crazy and such type of carbon emissions are seen? Anybody? Any thoughts?
I think it is overindulgence and the need for comfort.
Yes, one of the thing, sure.
Not having the clear idea about what is prosperity in real sense.
Yes, absolutely. This is where I want to drive everybody in the end. I have a very, very provoking statement which you guys may not guess, but let me still try. What is it that most important point that is pushing us? That the fuel prices are filthy cheap. You can express yourself if you wish. And I am putting it mildly. Happy with my statement? Getting angry?
No, sir, absolutely true.
Yeah, because if I
Yes, sir, absolutely true.
go outside on the street and say that, okay, the petrol price should be not 100 rupees, but say 700 rupees. And suppose tomorrow government increases it to 700 rupees, there will be a mayhem.
Yeah. That is also true. That is on the second part. But better option is we should go for renewable energy sources.
Correct.
That's why government is pushing the prices higher slightly.
Perfect. That is where I am heading to in my presentation soon after. But somehow I want to make this point very strongly that the fuel prices are really, really dirt cheap across the world. And that is why we burnt so much fuel. I mean, the poor people, if we are talking to some poor people on the street, and if we tomorrow increase the fuel price, there will be morchas and Bharat Bandh and whatnot. At the bottom of our heart, we know that everybody is using a lot of fuel these days. You will see the highways coming into and going out of Pune jam-packed every Saturday, Sunday. If you go to any toll naka, I am in Pune, so those who are around in Pune will know that if you come into Pune Sunday evening, you will see that every toll naka is completely choco-blocked with cars. Within the city, you will see that all type of people going around on their bikes with no real business. I mean, not necessary. There was always a contention that how do people commute? I mean, they have to have their two-wheelers. But if you go around in the city, you will find so many people moving around aimlessly with really no, it's not that as if they are every time going to their work and they have no choice but to use their two-wheeler. So I mean, I have one complete discussion, complete analysis of how this fuel is really dirt cheap. But today is not that topic, so I will not go into that area. But that can be a topic of discussion for you guys in future, like really whether the fuel is at a reasonable price or not. Whether you really want that fuel that cheap, or otherwise it is difficult to survive if the fuel prices go something crazy like I was talking. Anyway, not for today. Let us move on. So now that I have made the statement that fuel prices are dirt cheap and that the carbon emission is going high and high and high, the real question is who is supposed to act and who is to be blamed? Who should act on this? Well, believe me, no one else is doing much. So you would better do something yourself. That is my message of today. We don't have to wait for someone else to do something. Like we should start with our own. We should start with our oneself, not wait for. And if we keep saying that, okay, mere se kya hone wala hai, what is going to happen with my one guy doing something? Well, let us start. Someone will have to start. So why not ourselves? Is my message through this session. Remember, the governments and corporates are not going to do anything. You guys believe me? It is simply not in their interest. Everybody talks about green. Government will talk about green, carbon neutrality. Corporates will always talk about green, that our companies, this green, that green, we do this, we do that. I mean, if they just think about green and work on green areas, when will they make profits? That is why I put the footnote for the corporates. They will display their green credentials on their sleeves, but don't worry, they do not mean much out of it other than earning more profits. I'm sorry to say I am coming from corporate. We know that we want, but we cannot. It's the business, it's the profit, it's the sale that matters. So even if I put a lot of green credentials on my CV, or on the company's profile, on the company's brochures, well, in the end, the real fact is our bottom line, the profits. So if nobody is going to do anything, the governments or corporates, then it's better that we do something. So let us first going into the next part, which is about a few more slides. Let us take a quick summary. The modern era, which is 200 years, banking on these fossil fuels, saw a great industrial revolution. The life was never the same ever again. For a while, we all believed that this is the progress of civilization, the growth and development of human beings, and a great achievement at that, isn't it? We all agree that we made such progress. The mankind like changed the entire world, changed the entire earth. But we have to really go back and think what we did was right for the sustainability of the earth, or we really took it to a downhill path. Of late, however, the flip side of the growth is being realized and debated. Are we really better off with this development? Did our forefathers even a few decades ago were at any disadvantage for not having the modern gadgets and the modern cars and all such things? Let us talk about it. So when I say this, that we have reached this point where we are having a 380 ppm level of carbon dioxide in the Earth atmosphere, and we are heading very rapidly towards 550 ppm. Do you think everything is lost? Maybe, or maybe not. It all depends on us. If we don't do anything, then yes, maybe everything is lost. But if you agree to do something, then yes, maybe not, it's still not lost. So there are a few things that we can certainly do as individuals. That is where my actual topic has now come. The topic today read, how to live a low carbon life. And until now, I just talked about why to live a low carbon life. But because unless we know why to live, we will not really think about how to live and practice it. So now what I have done is I have just put very, very simple ideas, simple statements. And when we debate in future, you guys think more, you will come across more prominent ideas, more prominent. This, as I said, I made for school students. So the ideas are those which would be appreciated by school students. Okay, simple things we can do. Switch off the lights and fans when not in use. An air conditioner is simply not required in a tropical country like ours. I mean, just remember, 20, 30 years ago, there were no air conditioners. Now, almost a large number of households, you can see air conditioners. I'm living in a city called Pune. I mean, Pune is a place where you really don't need air conditioners, except for a month or so in April and May. But tropical country, we don't need it. We are surviving for thousands of years, lakhs of years. Avoid car when we can use a motorcycle. Avoid motorcycle when we can use a bus. Avoid bus when you can use a bicycle. I can see some improvement, especially after COVID. A lot of people have started using bicycle. I mean, for exercise at the moment, but we can use it for commutation as well. Walk when it is less than a kilometer. Why even use a bicycle? We can walk. When we walk, when we use bicycle, we are using the solar energy directly, because we are using muscular energy, and muscular energy comes from the food we eat, and the food we eat comes from the plants, and the plants are generating that food directly from solar energy without burning fossil fuels, without using any other source of energy for that matter. What else we can do? Maintain our fridge lean and thin. Don't overload. I mean, it consumes a lot of energy when we overload the fridge. We can avoid using washing machine. It is not a shame to wash clothes by hand. I mean, our parents used to do that. Our grandparents used to do that. But we have to use machines these days for washing our dishes, for washing our clothes. They are energy consuming devices. We can minimize our screen time. Maybe just 1 hour a day. Looks impossible these days, isn't it? Screens are consuming a lot of energy, be it TV, be it laptop, mobiles, whatnot. Why not remove the TV altogether, make a bookshelf in its place? I mean, all our previous generations survived on books, never had TV, but we are using TV for several hours in a day, and that is consuming energy. Frankly, in my opinion, our usage of electricity should start and end with a solar lantern, that's all. In the night, we'll need some light. Instead of burning a diya, a fossil fuel, we can use a solar lantern. My ideas, I mean, this can be debated, but today we don't have a lot of time to debate. Minimize usage of paper. I believe in the last 4 or 5 years, the usage of paper has gone down. At least that's one good thing that I have seen. But before that, there was huge usage of paper in the companies, in the industry, in the corporates. Print only if you need to. use of tissue paper may simply be discontinued. I mean, Western people are using tissue paper. What for? We can use water. We can use a handkerchief. I have seen when we go to a restaurant, people are using tissue paper like never before. Just pulling out 3, 4, 5 leaves out of it and just throwing them away. Why? Use a handkerchief. Use water. Remember, it's trees and trees alone that can get back oxygen from carbon dioxide. Why are we cutting trees for paper? Eat more food that grows on plants and not that is produced in a plant, a process plant. Avoid eating out in a hotel. I'm worried. I'm talking about carbon print. The same slides can be useful for sustainable health as well. We have started consuming a lot of processed food. Processed food requires energy. It's also bad for health. We should eat something natural that will not require energy to process the food, and we will be also happy. A lot of eating out is happening these days. That causes a lot of food processing, a lot of travel, a lot of illumination, lighting, and energy consuming devices used to prepare that type of food and whatnot. Turn vegan. Yes, please. Okay, this topic I will skip today because again we can discuss 4-5 hours on just the veganism. Some of you may agree with it. Some of you may have different opinion altogether. I don't mind it. There has to be all type of views coming in. But over a period of time, after a lot of study, I have realized that veganism can help us to reduce carbon print. How? We will not discuss today. Yes, it's a deep topic. Maybe some of you guys have thought about it, heard about it, studied about it. What you say? Anyone? Anyone who has thought or considered this particular topic, that veganism can lead to a lot of reduction in carbon emission? Okay, maybe not for today, but think about it. Well, few things very differently we can do to live a low carbon life. Go to bed before 9 p.m. Sounds impossible these days. Get up at 5 a.m. Be ready at 6 a.m. Reach your office at 7 a.m. Get back to home at 4 p.m. All sounds ridiculous in today's world, isn't it? Use maximum daylight. See, we blame Westerners for many wrong things, but at least they are setting their clock backward during summer, and they are trying to at least use maximum daylight, isn't it? So they set the clocks to DST, the daylight saving time, and use. And because we get up seeing the clock, and it is not possible to get up at 5, just turn the clock so that biologically it is 5, but you see 7 on your screen, so you are happy to get up. Something like that. Okay, use of EVs. That is another debatable topic which can take us few hours. I know some people think that EVs are good, and some people think that EVs have their own shortcomings, their own flip side. I think that today, at least for the time being, for the coming years, till other things shape up, EVs appear to be the best option. If not for carbon print reduction, because people say that, okay, in manufacturing EVs and the batteries and the disposal of batteries and lithium extraction, this, that, again, carbon is emitted. So I would say that at least for the time being, EVs are definitely good, not for carbon emission, but for CO emission, carbon monoxide emission. At least we will have pollution-free cities. The fossil fuels will be burnt somewhere else, like say Chandrapur, where there is no habitation, where we can have a better control on the emissions in a single place. 2000 megawatt thermal power plant can be set up away from the city, use that electricity and use electric vehicles as much as possible within the city, so that at least the pollution will go down. So the health aspect will improve, if not the environmental sustainability, at least the health aspect will definitely improve using EVs. But I do believe that there is a upturn for the environment as well. But it is debatable. We will keep it for another time. I just pulled out some data for last year's electricity consumption in India. So if you see the fossil fuel, coal about 1000 terawatt hour, gas about 36 terawatt hour, diesel little bit. So total 75% of energy consumed in India, electricity, in the form of electricity, not other forms, just the form of electricity was 75% through fossil fuel. I will put something as clean energy as well. Nuclear is clean, though not sustainable. Hydro, it is clean as well. It is not sustainable. I won't agree that hydro is a sustainable energy. It is clean. Biogas, partially clean. So clean energy, 15%. And real green energy, renewable energy, wind and solar is just about 10%, 5% each. Although you will find that both of these were just less than, were 0.1% about 10 years ago. So India has made good strides in this. So going from 0.1%, just about less than 1 TWH to 60-70 TWH is a good achievement. So this is where we have to head in future, because our energy requirement is not going to go down. Like we said that we should at one point try to reduce our energy consumption. That's what we talked about in the previous few slides, that let us not do this, let us not do that, reduce our energy consumption. But we know that it is not going to happen. We now, whatever we have created for us, we have to live with that. In that case, then at least not use fossil, which is still about 75%. About 10 years ago, it was more than 85%, close to 90%. So within 10 years, we have made some significant progress. Hydro energy, I said, not sustainable, because you have to build big dams, and again, big dams have their own serious problems, and we cannot. And a big dam like Koyana, how many days it can give you electricity? Maybe 15 days, 20 days if it is run at full capacity throughout the year. I mean, the dam will get emptied if you run it full time for the entire requirement. So that is why this hydro energy, like in Koyana or Mulshi in Maharashtra, is used only for few hours, that too whenever the water levels are high, but not otherwise. So EV looks fine, because we can have we can go on increasing the green energy, which is the wind energy or solar energy. If it can come from 0.1% to 10%, 100 times increase. I mean, we can increase it a lot further. Okay, we talked about 5-6 slides where we discussed what we can do for low carbon living, small ideas to reduce our dependence on energy, especially the fossil energy. As a society, we have to do something. What can be done? Improve the public transport. Again, government has to do that. I believe government is doing something. They are putting up metros. They are putting up a lot of electric buses, normal CNG buses, and whatnot. So I'm a little bit happy these days. I mean, it's not too bad. Things will change. Things will change. Like if we go to, say, those who have visited these places like London, Singapore, Tokyo, I have visited all these places. I have never used a taxi. I have never used any other mode of transportation other than the metro. So metro can really change the game. If you have a station 100, 200, 300 meters away from you, even 500 meters away from you, I am sure you will prefer a metro instead of any other mode of transport. Create a widespread awareness on the subject of emission of greenhouse gases. This is still low awareness. We have to do that as a society. The media can and should take an initiative in this regard instead of running after TRPs, which is day by day turning into yellow journalism. Media can only spread the awareness about the greenhouse gases. The law should be made stringent by the government or by the society, and the implementation has to be effective. Corporates may incentivize their staff who contribute to this cause. Like, for example, in our company, I can give you a very small example, not that we are doing anything big. If someone comes by a bicycle, we allow them 1 hour delay in the late mark. We are still an old-fashioned company, not work from home type of thing. We have to follow the office timing. So 1 hour both ends. Morning you can come 1 hour late. Evening you can go 1 hour early. That kind of a thing if you come by bicycle. Small incentive, not a very big incentive. One more incentive that we have started is that anyone uses an electric scooter, they can charge using companies' electric points. So practically you have no expense on fuel if you use electric scooter. So corporates can do that. Tariffs should be made deterrent and not populist. Remember, contrary to popular belief, the prices of fossil fuel worldwide are filthy cheap. That's what I said. It's a big topic which can be discussed at length, but please, I want to provoke you with these thoughts. Every time we come across, every government across the world, when the elections come, they say, okay, we'll reduce the petrol price, we'll reduce the gas price and all. I mean, no, please. Subsidies may be necessary. I mean, I'm not saying that you should not sell the fuel cheap. It may be necessary. However, the misuse has to be strictly controlled. Like you have a diesel subsidy. Now it has reduced, but when it was like 50%, 100 rupees petrol and 50 rupees diesel, and you sell a hell lot of diesel SUVs. I mean, the guy buying the diesel SUV, does he require a subsidy? It is required for a truck driver, a transport unit, not for diesel cars. I mean, so subsidies may be necessary, but they are highly misused.
Sir, okay. Sorry to interrupt.
Please.
How about the toxicity level or the pollution level, and it is compared to a petrol engine or a diesel engine? Which is the worst?
Diesel is, of course, the worst because it is always difficult to burn diesel fully. It requires a very high compression ratio. And the burning is never efficient because it is difficult to burn diesel. Like even today, you can buy diesel in a can at the petrol station, but not petrol because diesel is not very highly flammable, which means it is difficult to burn. So when
in terms of the pollutant thrown out, what amount of or what are the major toxic pollutants coming out either through petrol or diesel?
Earlier there were a lot of impurities like the lead and all that. So that was really very, very toxic, especially petrol. But nowadays the lead content has gone down drastically, very negligible. In fact, not seen. So in today's world, I would say diesel is more polluting because the pollutants which are coming out of it are primarily nowadays the carbon monoxide and hydrocarbons. And the suspended particulate matter, which is more in case of diesel because of its heavy nature, you will see the smoke coming out of a diesel engine rather than a petrol engine. So one of the pollutant is not only carbon monoxide and hydrocarbons, it is also the SPM, the suspended particulate matter, which is also very bad for lungs, the smoke, the soot as we call it. So diesel is bad, definitely. CNG is better because it is a light anything which is lighter burns better. So CNG is best, petrol is better than that, and diesel is worst. Or petrol is worse than that and diesel is worst. That way, if you want to put it. So the municipalities are trying to pull in more CNG buses, if not electric buses possible, because they are very costly, very difficult to maintain, has a big downtime for charging. So there are difficulties using electric buses. But the city of Pune, where I live, I mean, it has the highest number of municipal electric buses in India at the moment. So I feel a little better living in Pune these days. Okay, I'm coming to an end. We have just about 10 minutes left because we have to have a 10-minute break before the second session. So I will conclude my slides with 2 or 3 slides. I have a chapter when it comes to low carbon living, how animals are versus humans are behaving in this. An all important point that is adding to the carbon moves is a basic difference between humans and the rest of the animals. Can somebody try to guess something? What is that basic difference between animals and humans? Anybody? Every other animal and human, there is one basic difference which I have thought of.
Animals are more wise than human beings, sir.
They are wise. Absolutely, they are wise. Who is more cruel?
Human
lion?
being.
Human being is the cruelest.
Yes.
We used to say the tiger or leopard are cruel. No, they are not. They are not. Humans use much more than they need, and that's only the smaller part of the problem. Some sound disturbance. Okay. Humans use much more than they need, and that's the only the smaller part of the problem. Do you agree that humans use much more than they need?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But the bigger problem is that the humans stock far more, way beyond what they would ever need. And no animals really stock anything. When we said a tiger is a cruel animal because it kills another animal, I mean, that's nature. It has to survive by eating another animal. But we never see that if there are, say, 100 deers running around and there is a tiger and it will go and kill about 15 deers and stock them for future. No, it will just kill one deer, eat it and survive for next 7-8 days on that one deer. And you would have seen in those Animal Planet type of channels that whenever there are 100 deers and the tiger is chasing them, all of them are running, and when it kills one of the deer, the remaining 99 deers, they become calm. They are just grazing around. They don't even worry about the tiger anymore because they know that once it has killed one deer, it is not going to come and kill the second deer. They don't stalk. None of the animals stalk. Humans are stalking like anything, like there will be no tomorrow. I mean, I'm also guilty of that for sure. So this stalking is putting huge burden on natural resources, which humans do not have a business to consume in the first place. All these natural resources means the fossil fuels. We can easily relate each of these actions of sucking the resource and using this fossil fuels like anything. It is just a century or two that we have woven this trap for ourselves. To attain sustainable levels, all we need to do is turn the clock backward and take our lifestyle to just about, say, 50 years ago, not more. If you remember, any of you, your grandparents, I mean, their energy needs were so low. They used to walk around, go on bicycle, at the most take a public transport, and their job was done. They were not using any gadgets which were consuming huge energy.
Sir, sorry to interrupt in this
Yes.
matter.
Yes,
The
please.
socio-economic and cultural lifestyle changes are also the major reasons which cannot be taken back to 50 years, I guess.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. They cannot be taken back. I agree with you. But then what we do? We are really rapidly heading towards this huge global warming. I mean, we think that, okay, pollution is what is harming me as an individual. The global warming is harming the earth. We will see what will happen. At least it is not a problem today. Today we can see the effects. There are storms, there are tornadoes, there are big floods. How fast that can change, increase beyond our imagination, we don't know. Maybe some of the scientists put it at 20-30 years maximum that we will have a situation where the earth collapses simply. The living beings collapse. We don't know. That's what we are talking about through these sustainable discussions, and it's a big debate. But what you say is absolutely right. Very difficult to go back. But that is what my question is. When I say 50 years ago, are we talking much? What is 50 years as compared to the age of the earth or that of the mankind? Humans are here for 30 lakh years. And what I am suggesting is just going back 50 years. I mean, we could survive for 30 lakh, 29 lakh, 99,950 years to put it probably. But now within 50 years, we have changed so much that we didn't change any time before that for 30 lakh years. That now we don't know. I mean, I know it is difficult to go back, but it's a point to think. That's why I am saying that I'm not here to teach anything. I'm not here to impart a lot of knowledge. I am here only to provoke. So this is my provocation. So, like you said, turning the clock backward, no way, just not possible now. I was coming to that. So you rightly caught me there. Is it compulsory, as you said? Well, not really. After all, choice is ours. However, if we continue on our current path of burning the ramp, consuming energy like the way we are doing in last 30, 40 years, 20 years, 10 years for that matter. Remember, there is a cliff ahead. We are just going to go down. We are just approaching the end of that plateau where there is a cliff and we don't know. We put next step, we just go down. All over. Finish. That is it. That's what I wanted to talk. We would be at the point of no return. Thank you. I will stop sharing. We can chat a few minutes, 5 minutes. We have very little time left.
Yes,
I hope I could provoke you guys.
So the participants, any responses?
Anything you want to say? We have a few minutes. Anybody?
Sir, I have one question.
Yes, sure. Sir.
Yes, sir. Nowadays, people is thinking for biodiesel. No, they are trying to use biodiesel, which is renewable type of fuel.
Correct.
So, can you highlight how to use biodiesel in a diesel engine now? Because biodiesel cannot be directly used into a diesel engine.
No. We have to design new engines. Designs are available. We can start using those new engines, provided we get the enough supply of biodiesel. Through the cultivation, biodiesel is being generated once we get a proper supply. See, earlier CNG supply was very scarce. Nowadays it has stabilized. Same way, the biodiesel supply will get stabilized. Once it gets stabilized, then we will be able to buy a car which has a proper engine to run the biodiesel, and then we can use it. But for today's topic, again, that is not the solution, because biodiesel will also generate carbon dioxide. And for reducing the carbon footprint, okay, we are going to reduce our dependence on fossil fuel, so which will take care of one environment aspect of not digging and pumping out the crude. We can use biodiesel which is cultivated through crop, but then it will also burn and produce carbon dioxide. So producing carbon dioxide is what we are trying to talk in today's session as something which we should avoid in future. So that is why I feel electricity generated out of wind and solar looks like a better option. But again, EV has its own downfall. But instead of EV, we can use, let us say, a fuel cell. We can use green hydrogen. And you can use a ICE vehicle, the internal combustion engine vehicle, using hydrogen. But again, these are big topics. We can have discussions on them some other day.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Sir, there is a question in chat box
Yeah.
which says, is renewable energy the solution for carbon-free life?
Yes, renewable energy like wind and solar and something else, if it pops up, is a good way of reaching the carbon neutrality, as we call it. So carbon-free life, if you want to call it, yes, yes, renewable energy definitely. So we don't reduce our dependence on energy, which is now, as our friend says, inevitable now. But then change the source of energy completely from that 75% fossil fuel consumption to 100% renewable, then we are fine. Then I think all this problem gets solved.
Sir, green hydrogen?
Green hydrogen, yes, perfect. Green hydrogen produced out of electrodeionization using solar energy, and then using that green hydrogen either for ICE, which is internal combustion engine, or fuel cell technology. Both will be okay. That is fine. And these are two big topics which someday we would like to cover.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And India is having ample of, say, facilities, and we are moving towards, government is completely moving towards green hydrogen
Yes,
generation,
yes,
and
yes.
we will be capable to export green hydrogen at a very massive level to other countries also. So it will be more beneficial if we will supply green
It will
hydrogen
be
to
more
other countries,
beneficial.
because only India is not emitting CO2. Rather than that, as you mentioned, UK, USA, and
Yeah, yeah,
Canada,
yeah,
they are
yeah.
emitting more than
Absolutely,
in
absolutely.
millions than ourselves.
Yeah, yeah.
So it will be better if it is done on complete global level. So what you
Correct. So
suggested?
green hydrogen, as you rightly said, is the right solution going forward, because then it will eliminate the requirement of electric vehicles and the batteries as well. So either we use a fuel cell. We'll not talk about those technologies today, but either we use fuel cell or we use an internal combustion engine using hydrogen as the fuel. But that research and that complete commercialization of those type of vehicles, either a fuel cell vehicle or a ICE vehicle that Mr. Nitin Gadkari is using, it's to come to common people like us, it will take time. So there is a gap. There is a gap of 5-10 years still. So during this period, I think EV is the best solution rather than the normal petrol diesel.
Yes, sir. Very nice presentation. Very brainstorming and very interesting topic
Thank
you
you
have
so
handled,
much.
and you have handled in a very better and professional fashion, sir. Thank
Thank
you
you.
very
Thank
much,
you.
sir.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
I made it for secondary school students, but I knew that if if we have to provoke the thoughts, I mean, we are, many of us have become very old now, so
Yes, sir.
provoking our thoughts is not going to do much. So better to provoke the thoughts of the kids, and that will change the future.
Yes, sir.
That's
Yes.
true, sir.
So you guys can use this presentation to provoke the thoughts of all the students and college students,
Perfect.
school students,
Yes.
and I will share the presentation with Ghodke sir.
Yes,
And
sir.
thank you very much. Thank you guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Next question. I think there is one more question in the
Yeah,
chat
please,
box.
please, please.
Utkar
We
sir,
have a few
please.
minutes. Can
Uh,
you? I'm not able to open the chat box, so if
No,
someone
no.
no
can.
Utkar
worries.
sir is going to
No
ask.
worries. I'm just
Yeah,
asking, sir,
yeah.
what do you think about atmospheric conversion into value-added products?
Which conversion?
Atmospheric conversion.
Can someone elaborate on that? Because probably I'm not getting the.
It was, I think, by Dr. Swapnil. Dr. Swapnil, if you can directly ask, it would be a better.
Probably, I think so that even
Yes,
for changing the
yes,
contents
yes,
in the
yes.
atmosphere. Yes.
I think Dr. Swapnil is there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hello, Mr. Umesh. It was a
Yes.
wonderful presentation that you've given.
Thank
So
you
I
so
just
much.
want to ask you, what do you think about CO2 atmospheric conversion? Because nowadays many of us are talking
Ah,
about
okay, okay, okay.
CO2
I didn't
conversion.
purposely touch up that topic. That is also one possibility, that you use CO2 entrapment and use either chemical processes or mechanical processes to convert it back. I mean,
Actually, my query was how the government is looking into this aspect, because nowadays many researchers are working hard on this
yes,
particular
yes,
topic.
yes, yes. I
Yeah.
wanted to touch up that, but because it was not fitting in the time schedule, I skipped those slides. Like,
Yes, I understood.
yes,
Right.
that is one thing. Very interesting topic, but uh, because I cannot see much being done at the moment, so I thought I will skip it for the moment. But yes, CO2 conversion back to O2 and H2O is possible. I mean, if
No issues,
the
sir. H2O
plant
is
can
possible.
do it. I mean, human intuition and human innovation has got no limit. Every problem can be solved. The way we create problems, we can also solve them. That's the beauty of intelligence.
Kirti ma'am, please wind up so that we can.
Dr. Supri has done very good work on CO2
Correct.
capture.
Yes. I will really like to talk to all you people some other time when we exchange thoughts, because as I said, you guys are faculty members. I was scared of talking to faculty members because I am myself not in academics anymore. And I know I cannot impart any knowledge, but I can provoke. That's all I can do.
Thank you so much, sir. Good evening, all. It is my privilege to deliver the vote of thanks for today's insightful session on how to live a low carbon life. I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Mr. Umesh Dixit, sir. Your expertise and passion for promoting sustainable living have truly inspired us to rethink our daily habits and embrace a greener lifestyle. We are definitely agree with you, sir. If we protect the environment, environment is also protect yours. Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable talk and the time. I will also like to express my sincere thanks to the organizing team. A special thanks to the all audience for your active participation. Once again, thank you. Wishing you everyone a greener and more sustainable future. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Kirti ma'am. You have captured the essence of the whole talk in just two
Yes,
lines.
yes,
Thanks so much. Yeah.
yes. Thank you. Now, I request all the participants to kindly note that the second session will be on the next link. I take this opportunity to thank Mr. Umesh sir for delivering a wonderful talk. Sir, thank you so much for enlightening
You're
us.
welcome.
And here I conclude that the session is concluded, and we will join to the next link.
Thanks a lot.
Thank
Thanks
you,
a lot.
everyone. Thank you so
Bye
much.
bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye bye, everybody.
All,
Yes, sir.
please, all are requested to join the second session.
Okay. Thank
Bye bye,
you.
everybody.